In the year 1066, at a crucial moment in England's history, an ambitious and determined man rose to change the fate of a nation. His name was William, but posterity would know him as William the Conqueror. Born into the Norman nobility in Falaise, Normandy, William faced a challenging childhood due to his illegitimate birth. However, his life would be marked by ambition, struggle, and unwavering determination. Through this story, we will explore the life and achievements of William the Conqueror, from his childhood in a Norman castle to his coronation as the King of England, and how his legacy endures in England's history and culture. Join us on a journey through time to discover the life of one of the most influential leaders in England's history. Childhood and education of William the Conqueror. William the Conqueror, one of the most influential rulers in England's history, had a unique childhood and education that prepared him for leadership. Born in Falaise, Normandy in the year 1028, William faced a challenging early life due to his illegitimate birth. He was the son of Robert Edward, Duke of Normandy, and his concubine Arlette. The illegitimacy of his birth put him in a precarious position regarding the succession to the duchy. Despite his illegitimate status, his father, Robert Edward, not only acknowledged him as his son, but also allowed him to inherit the duchy. However, this decision was not accepted without resistance, and William faced numerous threats to his position, shaping his character and determination from an early age. William received an education that emphasized the importance of military skills, literature, history, and politics. His tutors and advisors provided him with a solid education that would prove essential in his future. William's education gave him a deep understanding of state affairs and helped him develop the necessary skills for successful governance. The relationship between William and his father was not without conflicts. Robert I spent most of his life in the Holy Land, participating in the First Crusade, which left William in a position of power in Normandy. This prolonged absence of his father, coupled with the ambiguity in the line of succession, required William to deal with internal and external challenges while consolidating his position. Robert Unai's death in the year 1035 led to a problematic succession in Normandy. William, being only a 7-year-old child, came under the guardianship of Norman nobles. This period of his life was marked by conspiracies and power struggles, but even in his youth, William demonstrated remarkable resilience and cunning. In his adolescence, William also witnessed the effects of political and military conflicts in his homeland. Internal conflicts deeply affected Normandy. This early exposure to adversity and the need to defend his duchy influenced his later inclination toward conquest and the desire to consolidate his power. William's education, along with his childhood and adolescent experiences, forged a resilient, ambitious, and determined personality. These qualities would become crucial assets in his future quest for the English throne and his ability to govern successfully in both Normandy and England. The quest for the English throne. William's quest for the English throne was an ambitious and bold undertaking that changed the course of England's history. His motivation to claim the crown of England was based on several fundamental reasons. First, William claimed that the King of England, Edward the Confessor, had promised him the throne. This promise dated back to a visit that William made to England in his youth, during which he met Edward. While there is no definitive written record of this promise, William argued that Edward had granted him the right to succeed him as king. This claim, regardless of its validity, would be one of the pillars of his argument for the conquest of England. The second fundamental reason behind William's quest for the English throne was the challenge posed by the proclamation of Harold Godwinson as the King of England. After the death of Edward the Confessor in January 1066, Harold Godwinson the powerful Earl of Wessex, self-proclaimed himself as king. William saw this action as a violation of Edward's alleged promise and as a usurpation of the throne. William considered it his duty and legitimate right to claim the English crown and put an end to what he perceived as an affront to his honor and the late king's supposed promise. His desire for justice and personal determination converged in his decision to launch an invasion of England. The third reason behind his quest for the English throne was related to his ambition and the opportunity he saw in England. William was an ambitious ruler, and the conquest of England represented an opportunity to expand his empire and increase his power. Furthermore, control over England would grant him access to vast resources and wealth, strengthening his position in Europe. The crucial moment arrived in September 1066, when William crossed the English Channel with a formidable army, ready to face Harold Godwinson in the famous Battle of Hastings. Victory in that battle marked a turning point in England's history and established William as William the Conqueror of England. The Battle of Hastings, England, was in turmoil and uncertainty. The English throne was in dispute, and two men eager to claim it were about to face each other in a battle that would change history forever. The Battle of Hastings, which took place on October 14, 1066, was a decisive confrontation in William's quest for the English throne. It was fought between the army of William the Conqueror and King Harold Godwinson of England. The battle was fierce, and despite the tenacious resistance of the English, the Normans managed to win. William established his control over England and became William I of England. On the battlefield of Hastings, two formidable armies faced each other, one led by King Harold Godwinson of England and the other by William the Conqueror, the Duke of Normandy. On October 14th of that year, swords clashed and archers fired arrows in a fierce battle that lasted for hours. William, a shrewd and experienced leader, fought fiercely, demonstrating his determination to claim the English throne. Despite the English's steadfast resistance, the Normans prevailed. Harold Godwinson died on the battlefield, and victory at Hastings marked a turning point in history. The coronation of William. After his victory at Hastings, William was crowned as the King of England on December 25, 1066, at Westminster Abbey. This coronation symbolized his claim to the throne and marked the beginning of his reign in England. His coronation also represented the fusion of Norman and English cultures in the new kingdom, William's legacy. The legacy of William the Conqueror is profound and enduring. He introduced significant reforms in administration and justice in England. He also had an impact on the English language as Norman influence enriched and diversified the language. His architectural legacy includes the construction of castles and fortifications, such as the Tower of London, which contributed to the kingdom's security. Diplomacy and governance. He implemented the Domesday Book, a detailed record of property and wealth in the country. This allowed him to have better control over his realm and greater capacity to collect taxes. As a leader, William was dedicated to diplomacy and international alliances. He sought papal recognition and secured treaties with other European monarchs. He also strengthened his ties with the Church, providing him with spiritual and political support. Family and inheritance. William married Matilda of Flanders and had several children, including Robert Curthose, William II, and Henry I. However, William's inheritance was the source of later conflicts, as the succession was not without challenges and family disputes. Rebuilding England, William oversaw the reconstruction of England after the wars and power struggles. This included the construction of castles, fortifications, and the establishment of a more organized system of government. Iconic monuments like the Tower of London became symbols of his authority and the kingdom's security. Monuments and statues in honor of William the Conqueror can be found throughout England, including Windsor Castle and Westminster Abbey, which represent his architectural legacy. Enduring legacy. William's legacy endures in England's history and in the Norman influence on the language, culture, and administration of the country. His reign laid the foundations for the Norman dynasty on the English throne and left a profound imprint on the history of England. William Mason's legacy is evident in modern England, where his influence continues to be an integral part of the country's history and culture. His reign laid the foundations for the Norman dynasty on the English throne and left a deep imprint on England's history. The end of his reign. William died in 1087 while fighting King Philip the Rambund of France. His death marked the end of an era and left behind the legacy of a Norman empire. In summary, William the Conqueror's quest for the English throne was driven by a combination of motivations, including his claim of a promise from Edward the Confessor, his perception of Harold Godwinson's usurpation, and his own ambition. The outcome of this quest would change not only his life, but also the history of England and the relationship between England and Normandy. The conquest of England by William laid the foundations for the Norman dynasty on the English throne and left a lasting legacy in England's history.